Hey everybody. Uh just think of this as like a podcast or something. Don't mind the art. Just it's from the movie for GQ G Quacks is what it's called. uh Gundam G Quacks. Okay? But I mean if I'm drawing something it just means that the thing that I'm drawing for was good, which means the movie was good. Anyway, but besides that though, the topic is that I talked to a Trump supporter, and it was interesting. Um, but yeah, he wasn't like dumb or anything like that. It's just so I'll just like reveal it throughout, I guess, because how it started was that he like I was talking something about Ukraine. And then he just like he gave off this vibe like Ukraine did something wrong or something. Oh yeah, it was that there was this article, not article, or is it an article? Anyway, it was an article saying it was on Twitter. It was about how Trump was saying that Ukraine is the cause of cyber attacks. Oh wait, no, it was Elon. Elon was saying that Ukraine was doing cyber attacks on Twitter because Twitter went down for like 2 hours at one point during the day. I believe it was either yesterday or the day before that. Yeah, it was yesterday. I'm pretty sure. And his reaction was like, oh yeah, we'll see. I was like, what do you mean we'll see? Like, there's no way that Ukraine did this because they have their hands busy with Russia already. And what do they gain from attacking a freaking social media platform? You know, like there's nothing they gain from that. Like, is this social media platform gonna give away Ukraine's positions or something like that, or like or what's being done? I guess I don't know. I mean, I guess that would be one way, I guess, but it's pretty sure that's the same with Russia, maybe. Um, because I mean, the thing is, I didn't do research on Russia, but let's say, you know, oh, that's the reason. Well, I mean, then you're gonna have to cyber attack Reddit. You're gonna have to cyber attack YouTube or whatever, right? Like, why is it just Twitter? You know what I mean? Like, Facebook, all these things. Like, I'm pretty sure that um, these social medias are free to report on what's happening in Ukraine, what's happening in Russia, if they can get their hands on info anyway. But yeah, so yeah, I don't see the point in Ukraine uh, doing a cyber attack in the first place on Twitter. Oh, targeting Elon, I guess, or whatever. Um, but even then, there's just like, where's the what's the real value in that, right? But hey, I mean, a Ukrainian soldier, right? Every uh, every Ukrainian soldier is an individual, so I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm just saying that the possibility is really low. You know what I mean? Like it's just I just can't see it. But that's just the logic going behind it, right? That was my reasoning for the for like this argument anyway. And then he decides to go into the DMs to talk more about the politics because I guess he just wants to discuss about it. I mean, the thing is that people do need to talk about politics because I mean their lives are being affected, right? So they want to vent somewhere or something like that. And so I'm guessing that's the case here. But in any case, though, I decide to pick his brain because I don't see this guy as you know as someone that's unreasonable anyway. But that's what I'm DMing for to confirm anyway. And yeah, he was not. Like he's informed to some degree, not to the best of you know his ability or whatever. He just choose to believe what he wants to believe. That's the thing. Like he'll see all these bad things that are reported about Trump, and then like he doesn't really think anything of it. He just thinks that Trump will, fix the country because he's doing this, he's doing that. Oh, if he pulls out of Ukraine, then the money that was then we can save money now, and then it can be used to help our people. But the thing was that I mean, they had that opportunity even before the Ukraine war. Like, where did all that money go? You know what I mean? Like this war's been going on for 4 years. Oh, like that's such a long time, and inflation, and I can't afford this, I can't afford that. But at the end of the day, right? I mean, that's not Ukraine's fault. Like, who started the war? You know what I mean? Uh, if Russia didn't invade Ukraine, this none of this would have happened. So I don't know why you're blaming Ukraine for this. You know what I mean? But that I didn't say that to him though, unfortunately. Um, so like basically, there's no point in blaming Ukraine. But uh, it's like like why help Ukraine? There's nothing to gain from it. It's like, dude, you don't like looking at it from a business point of view, and you just forego the context at that point. Like if Russia wins, then that sets the narrative for the world. You know what I mean? Like that just proves that evil and people who are hungry for power will rule. You know. I mean that's not to say that like he gets Ukraine and then it's over from there. No, of course not. But like why should we why would you let it escalate? You know what I mean? Like why let that escalate? But I mean, it's not looking good though because Trump is in talks with Putin and China, and with these three powerhouses, uh, it's not looking good, right? I mean, that's all there is to it. Like, it's those that are power hungry that gets that they work for military power. You know what I mean? So it is definitely not looking good. Um, but you know, he and then there might be a power struggle because three people that want to rule the world or some shit like that. I mean, three countries that want to rule the world. It's like obviously they wouldn't be in cahoots forever or whatever. I guess I don't know. I mean, I have no idea how it'll go. I mean, power hungry. Just what other however how could you see it any other way, right? It's like if you're power hungry, then you want to be the one in power, right? Like you can't share that power with someone else that's also power hungry. It's just not possible because the compatibility is not there. Like, oh, we got what we wanted. Now we go our separate ways because I want more. Like, what? Like, I don't agree with you, so I'm done with you kind of thing. That's like Trump has shown that so many times already in just the past month or whatever, like with the way that he's like treating Canada, for example, anyway. Like, oh, I don't like you, and you better get absorbed by the US. It's like so stupid. Like it's either get absorbed by the US or you're against me. But yeah, so yeah, he just like I don't know, like I tell him all these things, and he was like still like trying to hang on to a thread of hope on Trump, and I'm telling him, you know, if you were to hang on to a thread of hope, Trump is not the guy to hold it to. You know what I mean? Like he's the last person you should be doing that for. But yeah, so we talk, and I talk about things like how, uh, I mean, I have to say it, like if because Trump got to become president, I have to say that the U.S. is stupid. Like, is there really like amongst the people that actually are intelligent in the U.S. Can you really like blame me, right? Because again, with all that's going on, I shouldn't like just the fact that you're going against Canada in the first place is it's crazy, you know. But yeah, so and so I talk about how uh the US has been using their money wrong, obviously. They just been mostly putting that in the military, it's in the articles and whatnot, like $5 million, not 5 million. Is it 5 million or was it like $55 million plane? And that plane doesn't even work, that kind of thing, right? And like that $55 million could have went somewhere else or some shit like that. I don't know. Um, but in any case, though, and when COVID hit, right? Guess how much you had to pay for a COVID test? Like upwards of $1,000 to get a COVID test to like make sure that you don't have COVID. It's like, is that even worth it? No, it's not because of how many people are like getting COVID or whatever, right? If you have COVID, do you really even need a test? Like, just stay home and don't come into contact with other people. Like, it's that simple. Why would you pay $1,000 for a COVID test when you could just literally, like, even if you don't have COVID, you're still gonna be staying home. You're still gonna be in bed. You're still gonna have to get better and not like come into contact with anybody even if it's just a cold. You know what I mean? Like, in any case, though, but yeah, so like America is just shooting itself in the foot every single time. There's so many reasons that point to that. You know what I mean? Uh, like I mean, I didn't want to have to mention it, but school shootings is another thing. Like the because like I just mentioned shooting one in the foot, right? And that's just like that's like a prime example of that because why did it happen? It's because everybody can have a gun, and even if the responsible person, aka for one example would be the dad who owns the gun, and he did everything. He got the gun license. He has the safe arms or whatever. Blah blah blah. All that, right? And he keeps the gun in a safe, and he has a safe lock and whatever, everything. But the kid still got in, and he does not need a gun license. He just has to know how to use the gun. All he's gotta do is put the bullets in and unlock the safety lock, and it's good to go. You know what I mean? Uh, and shooting people point blank at school is just it's not you don't need to aim. You don't need to know how to aim, you know what I mean? Um but in any case though, that's why guns should be banned anyway, because it's not just because like um it's like even if you have responsible people, those responsible people can't be responsible for others that can end up taking that gun. You know what I mean? Like once that gun is taken from you, you have no control anymore. You know what I mean? Uh, like I get that U.S. is a very unsafe place, and I understand that gun gives that security, you know. If someone comes into your home, just pop that shit in, you know what I mean? Just like pump that shotgun and they'll go running, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, even criminals can have guns. You know what I mean? Like uh over here, public can't have gun. So where's the accessibility for criminals to have gun? Yes, there are underground networks and whatnot, but it still limits who can have a gun. At least, you know, a regular person can't have a gun. At least a regular low life criminal can't have a gun, right? Um, I can understand that establishments can have a gun anyway. Like I say, gun ban. Of course, that just means that most people can't have a gun. Uh, Police officers should have a gun, of course. Uh, I guess establishments should still be able to keep a gun as well because, right, at the end of the day, establishments aren't gonna go around stealing from other people. Okay, like that's not how restaurants work. They make their money the honest way. So, but yeah, and like it's gonna be hard for their kid to get into the restaurant to get a gun. But you know, it's just like lessen accessibility of guns so that you can have less tragedies. Um, and then obviously criminals will also have less accessibility too. Now, how to go about the gun ban obviously is the question, right? Because even if we want to agree with a gun ban, how do you get rid of all those guns? You know what I mean? The you can't just take it from the criminals. Maybe. Well, actually, I guess you could. You would have to fight for it. You know what I mean? Like, and even then, like they can be like, oh yeah, sure, take our guns, and then they'll still have plenty in some hideout somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, uh, it, it's but you know that's like those criminal organizations had a lot of power in the first place. But you know, if they're letting go of their guns easily, then obviously they have guns somewhere else. Um, but in any case, though, that's just talk for. I mean, that's not really talk. I mean, I say all this stuff right now just to like give a little bit of information, a little bit of awareness, and maybe someone can just pick up off of that. Someone important that is, but and obviously is on the good side. I mean, I talk for the goodness of people anyway. But yeah, enough talk about that though. Um, yeah, I can't even afford my own home or buy food without proper budgeting. I don't know where this guy is like living that's like that, but that is not uh that's not Ukraine's fault anyway. Like the argument was against Ukraine for that, and it's like, bro, like inflation. I didn't say that inflation was everywhere to him, but I should have. Like that's an argument to be made and a very powerful one at that. inflation is everywhere. It's not just, US. And then the whole chicken flu and having to kill all the chickens and therefore the eggs increase in price. But like at the end of the day, right? I mean, that stuff can grow back. It's not like it's gone it's not like that price increases forever. You know what I mean? Like it's just for now. Um, but in any case though, so that's that. He also believes that tariffs will help, which is not true at all. He's like saying that it may be more expensive in the short term, but in the long term it'll be beneficial. It's like, I mean, he didn't make any argument against the eggs anyway, but it that's following the egg argument where uh that's only a short term increase in price. In the long run, it'll go back down eventually when the chickens recuperate their population, right? But in any case, and then cutting off useless departments and bloated federal government. So yeah, people that work for the government lost their job, and it's funny because those people believed that their job was going to be secure forever, and there you go, just like that, U.S. Throughout that expectation, and specifically Trump throughout that expectation. Um, and when someone does that to something that was supposed to be, you know, like it was supposed to be adamant or whatever. Now, obviously, not everything is forever. Not everything is absolute. But for him to is it single-handedly? Either way, though, I'm just gonna put all the credit onto him anyway, even though really, I mean, I guess there's no. I shouldn't really put all the blame to him. Because the thing is that he can't do it alone. He has to have people supporting him to do that. And for people to be doing this in the first place, it just means that the people these people that have been running these offices have been corrupt of all along, because they easily make these things happen. They easily make it so that Trump doesn't get punished for his crimes. You know, they make it so that the government the people working in the government can lose their jobs. Like they make that a possibility. Like you got it's such obvious corruption, but this guy, he still wouldn't budge from that. That it wasn't enough to convince him. But in any case, though, and he believes that the tariffs will help. And then I show him that they lost $1.1 trillion like in stock market over putting tariffs on Mexico. Yeah, and then Trump reverses that because of losing $1.1 trillion, right? Like, how can you even put your faith on a guy that won't even keep his word? I mean, if you're gonna believe in him, if you're gonna believe in this whole tariff thing, well, he doesn't even believe in it. He just keeps on going back and forth. Like with Canada, he has done it 3 times now. He keeps on putting the tariff in, reversing it, put the tariff in, reverse it, and then put it back in again. Like I don't want to follow this guy's news. Like he is just stupid, and therefore like just fucking get him out of the office already. In any case, though, uh, uh, to continue on anyway, uh, he then goes, this is what we get for not domestically making goods, which we used to do decades ago. And it's like, yeah, uh, that is the case, that if you're not making goods domestically, and you have to like outsource goods, yeah, like you're gonna have to depend on other countries like Taiwan or whatever, right? They they have the monopoly on making computer chips or something like that, right? And therefore, it really affects the U.S. market with their what was it, GPUs or something like that. I know that the GPUs were affected. Most likely, computer processors were affected. I mean, why not? I guess really. I mean, yeah, because they're the only ones that have the blueprints to making these chips or something like that. Is what I last remembered from like I can't completely recall it, but obviously you can just go on the internet and find out, right? Um, in any case, shortage on that really affected the market, and yeah, I mean, if US just had their own uh in the US like that, then it would have been um they wouldn't have had to depend on Taiwan for their computer chips or whatever, right? Oh, I know that it also affected cars too. Uh, in any case, though, let's see. So, yeah, domestically making goods is one solution. But why that didn't happen was because I asked him, it's like, I asked him, hey, so then, why is this happening? It's because it's cheap over there and therefore, more profits, right? Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. But, the real answer is because of greed. They didn't want to do it in their own country because of the cost. It was too costly to do such a thing because the labor here in the US is too much. Like you can just pay somewhere else for like 1/10 the cost, maybe even less than that, and get the same and get e- either the same results or better results or I don't know. But either way, though, like just to taking advantage of poor countries and poor people in general, right? That's all there is to it. Making sweatshops and stuff like that, and that's just so evil. You know what I mean? Like, just allow these evil companies to have their way, and then it fucks up the world like this. Like, where the world is fucked up because partly because of this practice. Um, but yeah, so and then like now they're doing this whole tariff thing, right? In any case, though, but tariffs are not gonna help their country at all, as you could tell with losing $1.1 trillion on Mexico alone. Like, hello, just from Mexico. Oh my God. $1.1 trillion is nothing to laugh at, that's for sure. I mean, how are you gonna lose that much money? Like, what could that money could have been used for? You know what I mean? Like, why didn't you just use this to restore your own country? You didn't. Like, just the fact that you had even $1.1 trillion to lose in the first place. Oh my God. In any case, though, let's see. There are many illegal immigrants because our borders were open. Blah blah blah. And therefore, I don't know, crime rates increased because of that or something like that. I mean, he's blaming the immigrants for more gunshots everywhere or like more crime everywhere. You know, that's all there is really to it. And it's like, uh, let's see. And he'll say stuff like, "Oh, I witnessed a stabbing at a restaurant that he was working at," which I mean that gives credibility in that Like he's working, he is working, and he's saying that he can't afford food, which I mean, I'm not gonna say that he truly can't afford food. There's no way that he truly can't afford food. I mean, there that's just not possible for that to be the case. I mean, a worker not being able to afford food, come on. That's just bullshit. Because if that was truly the case, then your country just cannot run at all. Or your area, I guess, cannot run at all. Like you would fall apart just from that. Yeah. I mean, not just you. I meant by like your place would fall apart just from that. So they can't afford to make it that you can't afford food. In any case, though, um, so yeah, I talk about the greed and like them taking down the education department and taking down safety control, like something about the Air Force or something like that. Like they lost their safety controls, and that's probably why there was this helicopter hitting a plane incident, and that's probably why that happened, right? Because they just like fired the people of that department. Then there was like something about some playground or some play place that got shut down just to save some money, like I don't know, $5 million of money. But the thing was that it was making like $55 billion of profit or $55 million of profit per year, something like that, right? Like the profit was like 10 times the cost of it. So it's like why do you need to take that down? But I didn't talk about that with this guy, so I mean, I'm just like ranting on, but still though, like uh these are things that actually happen, right? People don't just report these things and they're just complete lies. Like the truth is there. I mean, that is some big news right there, right? Who would want to like lie about lie about the that place being taken down, and who would lie about the profits that's being made? Like, okay, maybe they can embellish it or something like that, but like it's probably still close to that at the end of the day, right? Even if it is not 10 times, it could still be 9 times, it could still be 8 times, and that's still an argument made against Trump or Elon, whatever, whoever. I don't understand what's going on with Elon, like how he is a part of the government or a part of Trump's thing or whatever, but he is. And therefore he's probably making some executive decisions about certain things, right? But in any case, though, um, so yeah, he's making an argument against the Department of Education, being that it's been around since 1979 and it has not improved in all those years. And yes, that is an argument to be made. And my argument against that is that they never made a point to improve the system, in that like I don't really know what goes on in the Department of Education, but I mean there's obviously going to be some corruption there, right? Some schools will be taking that money and not using it for the school itself, but instead pocketing it for themselves in some manner by, I don't know, using it for their own vacations or something like that. The very top people. I can see that because, I mean, there are teachers that really want to actually teach kids and can't even afford uh school class materials. They had to go to GoFundMe.com website to get funding for the school to get school materials to teach their kids. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. And then there was like even an ad. Like how do you have an ad about how poor teachers are? How do you have that? Usually ads are just for making profit, just for companies that want to continue making profit to like get themselves more well known so that they get more profit. How did you have an ad about teachers being poor? That has nothing to do with the greed of companies. You know what I mean? Like, how do you have it that bad? Oh my god. But basically how this commercial went was like this dude was giving this person, like, this person was holding out their empty coffee cup out, and then this guy gives her $5, and then she says to him, but I'm a teacher, like, I'm not homeless, I'm a teacher. And that was what she was like basically going for. I don't know the exact phrasing, okay, but that was what she was going for. And then he's like, oh, you're a teacher? And then he puts in another $5 to her, into the cup, and goes, and she's like, oh, wow. And then it's like, oh, okay, yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no product placement or anything. It's literally just that. Like, how do you have to have an ad for that? That's so sad. Like, where did this ad come from? Where did the funding come from? Was it from the government? I don't even know. Like, it didn't say it was from the government. I didn't see anything about, oh, from the blah blah of the US. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't see anything about that. Cause like over here in Canada, it'd be like from the government of Canada. You know what I mean? Like that when it's an ad by the government of Canada, they tell you that it's an ad by the government of Canada. But I didn't really see anything about like from the government of US with this ad. But in any case, though, so yeah, uh, like just it's it's, it's so obvious, you know. Like you shouldn't have to think about it. But in any case, though, um, but yeah, so that's where the idea comes from. Where okay, you know, I keep telling this to him. I had to repeat it multiple times throughout the conversation that it's not just about the money, it's about how you use the money. You know, he'll say stuff like, "Oh, the $284 million was allocated into the education just last year." You know, uh, it sounds like a lot. I don't know where it's going. It's like, but it's certainly not going into the public schools, the elementary and high school areas, because just look at what happened to them, right? In last year, I could have swore that I've heard about maybe 3 school shootings articles at least. I know at least 3 of them, just that last year. And I was just, all I'm doing is browsing Reddit, and I see these things, and it feels like I see them more than 3 times. It feels like I've seen it 5 times or something. Like it's just so ridiculous. But in any case, though, um, like going to like talking about gun banning, because I advocate for that. That is something that I talked about. And I don't know if I've already talked about it in the video already, because like the thing is that this is a re-recording, and in my last recording I did talk about it, but I'm just gonna say it again. Like, guns should be banned. There's no two-way about that. It's just a question of how should it be banned, because I know that regular people should not have guns. And like, yes, US is very dangerous, okay? Yes, I do understand why you would feel the need to have guns, like, cuz it's so dangerous there. Like, everywhere is dangerous. Like, this guy that I was talking to was just like complaining about how he heard 2 gunshots in like a week or 2 weeks or something like that. And then how someone in the restaurant that he was working for got stabbed. Like, but the thing is that an argument to be made about getting stabbed is that that person didn't have a gun, and apparently nobody else had a gun, and like they just let that guy get away with the stabbing? Like, come on. Like you say that people should have guns to protect themselves, yet this guy got stabbed, and what? Nobody did anything about it? Like nobody shot that guy or whatever that stabbed that guy? What? Like, I mean, I didn't ask about it, so fair enough on that part anyway. So I can't really say. But there are definitely going to be incidents like that. That's the thing. Like, you can easily imagine that being the case. I just like what from what I said, right? I mean, it's it's bound to be out there because the thing is, not everybody's gonna carry a gun. Usually, people don't carry a gun. So, like, now it's just like that's just going against the argument of having a gun because not everybody's gonna carry one. Not every good person anyway. I know that the bad people will, so that's another argument against it. So it's like, uh, there's really not much to be said for people to be having guns. Okay, like just these few examples in themselves, the school shooting, someone getting stabbed and nobody shooting that guy, uh, good people not usually carrying guns while the bad people will. And then it's like, even if they do, these bullets cost a lot of money too. Um, that's another thing. Um, and uh, and yeah, like how did these kids get these guns in the first place, right? Like, even though this responsible person that got this gun, he had to get his certificates and everything, and he even puts it in a safe. This kid still gets into it. It's like as long as there are people like that that can like get into these things, not even responsible people can have a gun. Like you want it for your own home. You want to keep your house safe. You want to like make sure that like robbers can't rob your place. But then I'm like hearing about people who just can live in other people's homes and the police can't do anything about it. You know, something about loitering or something. I don't know what it is. How they would like, but basically the homeowner gets tricked into letting these people into their homes, and they're like, "Oh, I just need to be here for like a week or something," right? And so they that's how they get tricked into letting someone live into in their home, and they can't do anything about it. And because like if you like force them out, then that's against human rights. I'm pretty sure. Like I'm gonna give these homeowners the benefit of the doubt. Like if people are able to abuse uh living in these homeowners' homes, then there's a good reason why, right? Like they can try anything, but the law is against them, kind of thing, right? The police can't help them and they can't force them out of their home, and they can't just shoot at them too because that's not self-defense. So like the gun is useless there too. You know what I mean? Like there are so many situations that makes it so that the gun ends up being niche. It is not a common place. It is a niche thing. And so it's so niche that you might as well just ban it. And so like now if they ban it, now my this friend of mine can't complain about how he's hearing 2 gunshots in 2 weeks or whatever, right? Or at least there'll be less chance of that happening, right? The point is to have these things less chance of it happening. So how that'll be the case is that common criminals can't have guns now. You know what I mean? I mean, they couldn't have it in the first place, but like because like they'll come in with a knife, right? Well, okay. I mean, I've seen plenty of videos where common criminals have guns, but there were plenty of videos that they had fake guns too. But still, at the end of the day, if you take away guns from the common people, that kid can't just get into their dad's safe and then rob a bank. You know what I mean? Or not bank, rob a convenience store, not a bank, because a bank is a bigger heist anyway, and it's harder to pull off. But a convenience store, though, right? But in any case, though, so there's that. And then, yeah, the criminal organizations, they still will have plenty of guns. Now, obviously, take away from the criminal organizations too, but obviously they will hide plenty of guns. They've been doing this for many years. But you know what? Like, that's the lesser of two evils, to ban guns and try to take away guns, like, from the mafia. I mean, like, whether you like it or not, the mafias and whatnot, those criminal organizations are gonna have it, whether you like it or not. But in any case, though, and you can't even defend yourself against them. You know what I mean? Like even if you have a gun against them, they have a whole crime organization against you. You kill one guy, like 10 people come after you. You're basically dead. What's the point? You know what I mean? Like, there are so many arguments against you actually having a gun. And you might as well just so, like, most people will be more on equal ground, and you learn self-defense. But yeah, I didn't have to really make an argument against. Okay, I did make a few, and he's conceded to those. I didn't have to go. I didn't have to go into this much detail. You know what I mean? But yeah, like, those Americans like to think that they need the guns, but they don't ever have actual good arguments against it. Like, it may seem like good arguments, but lay these kinds of arguments in against them, and tell them, like, how often do you use the gun? How often is a good person using a gun? How often does this happen? And then how often do the bad people have guns? How often do you hear gunshots in your streets? How often blah blah blah? You know what I mean? Like, all these things that are basically normal occurrences in the US. They're not normal occurrences in most other parts of the world that don't have guns. It's certainly not a common occurrence over here. It's like, you just compare other countries alone, and then that's already enough of an argument. And yet they can't even believe that. So you have to give them more specific examples, just like what I'm doing right now. But in any case, though, let's see here. So then he's like, so this is like this thing. He's like, oh, I'm so sick of everybody going against Trump and Elon. Like, why are they attacking them now? It's like they never attacked them in the past or whatever. Or like, they didn't attack them this much in the past. Something like that anyway. But yeah, so I'm like saying, I mean, bro, like, they do all these things. What do you mean? Like, there are articles that literally tell you. And he's like, oh, but that's only half the truth. I was like, bro, even if it's only half the truth, that's still half the truth. Like, you can say that there's half lie. You're looking at the bottle as half empty, but at the end of the day, it is still half full. Like, there is still half truth in there. What is that half truth? You know what I mean? Look at that half truth. What is it? What is it? It is Trump that got that there's a crime against him. He is literally a criminal. And another truth is that he is being, he is not being charged for it. He is not being punished for it. These are truths. Okay, like there, like just think about why that's a truth. Why did that happen? Okay, corruption, greed. These people are with him. He has this much power because of greed and corruption. Oh my god. But in any case, though, um, moving on from that, and it's like, why do you even support Elon? Like, he thinks that Elon's also gonna do help, but this guy knows nothing about politics, and even the Trump who's in politics is terrible at it too. Like, how can you ever expect anything out of Elon? Like, all he knows is technology, and I don't know, being a meme. Like he knows nothing about politics. Like this guy was literally deemed retarded as a kid. Okay? He was officially deemed retarded by doctors. Okay? Like these are the guys that you're going to give your life to. But in any case, though, and then like I also talk about how Trump lost, like made 6 companies go bankrupt or something like that. I mean, even if that's only half the truth, it's still there. Like there's that truth is still there. Whether it's 6, 5, or 4, it doesn't matter. 5 or 4 is still a lot. Okay, but in any case, though, keep going. Um, it's like saying Google can tamper with search results. It's like credibility is something that you can just research because like there are systematic placements, like hardware placements even. Well, not just hardware placements but law placements that make it so that there has to be credibility. You are forced to have credibility when it comes to news, okay? If you're an official news outlet, you cannot afford to lie about things. You can embellish things. You can embellish the truth. You can like say things that'll like it's not a lie. It may be like I may be bending the narrative to my liking, but the truth is still there, and that's the thing, right? Like that embellishing is just an opinion thing. It is not a truth thing. It is they cannot lie about these things. So you can just research credibility. Okay? Credibility is there. You can't just say, "Oh, I can't trust the internet because there are lies out there." You have to do your research, okay? Because that truth is still there. You just have to work for it. If you're not going to work for it, then you don't have any credibility yourself. That's all there is to it. Like your opinion does not matter. That is what I'm saying. And like, I don't put it against him like that, right? I don't like put him down like that. I I'm forced to him that I I I just worry for him and his country, you know? Like Trump is making it worse, and I just want your country to be better, just like you want your country to be better. This guy, he's just desperate. That's all there is to it. He is not a bad guy. He just, Trump got elected, and he's saying all these things, and he believes that this will help him, help the country because he, the idea of saving money so that it can be allocated to help the people is that sounds good to him, but at the end of the day they're all lies. Politicians can lie, news can't lie, politicians can lie. Okay, they always been lying. But in any case, though, keep moving from that. um so let's see. He said like I go on about like how he should use Reddit and stuff like that. And he's like, no, I can't use Reddit. Reddit is like, that's the one thing I can't use. I'm like, why? Oh, because of the Twitter ban. I may be overreacting, but that is like one of my reasons why I can't use Reddit. I'm like, dude, if like that's not a good reason, unfortunately, just because they banned Twitter links. It's like, oh, they're biased. They're biased. Everywhere is biased. There's no such thing as no bias. Like, I mean, okay, what I'm saying is unbiased, honestly. Like, I may sound biased and whatnot, and I may be like I'm getting angry and whatnot, but I'm angry for a good reason. Okay, I'm not angry because I just don't like this guy. I'm angry for a good reason. I don't like this guy for a good reason, even like. Like his decisions the decisions that he makes are not good for these reasons. I can back up, my thoughts process, and I can give good reasoning. So that makes it so that I'm more unbiased than most people, you know what I mean? Having reasoning is what makes someone less biased, okay? That's all I'm saying. And I am more unbiased than most of the things out there, that's for sure. But in any case, though, like if you can give me an argument to like support them, just tell me, and explain yourself. This is the way to get unbiased results, to get unbiased opinions, to understand how a person thinks. You gotta get them to explain. But in any case, though, keep going. Sorry if I keep on saying that, like, take a glass shot or whatever. It's like you'll already be drunk. But that's just my way of transitioning to like move forward, um just like how these VTubers, Fuamoko, they use Bao Bao to move on from a subject, to move on from a topic, and go into the next thing because time is limited and can't spend forever on this thing, right? But in any case, though, moving on. Please don't take a shot. You won't be able to listen to me otherwise. In any case, though. Ah, shit. Uh, moving on. Move on. Okay. I'll use something else now. So I'll say, nyuk. There you go. Nyuk. Anyway, fuck. So just get rid of the bloat is what he would call it, with getting rid of the federal government and the the education department. And I tell him, no, that is not the way to go. Okay, that is not the way to go. You do not cut costs in places that are supposed to be helping people. I mean, that is their purpose anyway. What's the purpose of education is to help people, right? But in any case, what you're supposed to do with that, okay? You're not supposed to be cutting them off. Well, I guess you could in a way, but like, if you're going to like destroy them, you have to rebuild them, okay? That's the way that it should be. Like, you don't just cut them off. You gotta rebuild them, okay? Federal, if these federal and education departments were truly that bad or whatever, then they need to be rebuilt. And you can't have these corrupt people being the ones to run these areas. Now, I don't know if they are actually corrupt or whatever, but I know for sure that like the education system is very much flawed, and it's flawed because of corruption and greed. That's all I really need to know about it, because I see it, I see the results, it's there, and when school shootings happen, what do the schools do? They don't. It's not like they want to change anything in terms of making the school better for people. They just want to hide those results, and they want to They want to hush people, and they want to make sure that they can keep their reputation that they had. So if this school that had supposedly had good reputation, like schools with good reputation will get, better uh will get better treatment. I know that much anyway. And so, like, if their reputation goes down, then they get less treatment, and that means less money to them, less money to those top people, the principal and blah blah blah, whatever, right? Um, but yeah, I mean those, like, in anime, I and Persona 5 even, like, they do this thing where it's like the principal is just a pawn, he's just like listening to those up top above him. That's like the school board, I guess, is what it is. And, like, I guess it's these people that are running the show, right? And it's these people that have got to go, get replaced by people that actually care about the schools and whatnot. But in any case, though, but yeah, these schools, they only care about their reputation, and that's a cowardly way of thinking. Like, you shouldn't. That's not what you should be prioritizing on. You should have been prioritizing on all the kids that were lost, and how you should be reforming the students, reforming the school, so that this doesn't happen again. And how it even happens in the first place. Just understand why the kid shot up the school in the first place. It's always been that they've been getting bullied, that nobody helps them, that the school doesn't help them, the school doesn't do anything, the teachers don't do anything. That's all it's ever been. And so, like, if this school actually did something to help these kids, this never would have happened. It's so obvious. Oh my god. But in any case, though, like, you can't let these school bullies take advantage, because if you let them do what they want, they take it a mile. They go as far as they can. That's how it goes with bad people, right? It's how it goes with corporations. It's obviously with criminal organizations. Like, that's why we have to have these people, like these police force and security and whatnot. Like, you let them run rampant, and they're the ones that run the show at the end of the day, right? But in any case, though, yeah, that's why people have to care, right? If you don't care, this is the result. But in any case, though, sorry, I keep saying that, but I can't help it. Anyway, please forgive me. Allow me to say it, really, because habits will not go away in a video. But in any case, um, so education. So that's what I was trying to get to try to tell him, and, like, he's like, "Oh, who do I look to?" And it's like, well, I mean, I feel like Obama did some good, like with that Obamacare. That was one example, right? And he would even, like, go against Barack Obama, and, like, he'd be going like, "Oh, the Russia." Uh, I'll find it eventually anyway, but we'll get to it when we can get to it anyway. Um, but yeah, and it's like he talks about how games, like how Pokemon got rated E10 because there was gambling in the game, but then when FIFA does it, uh, it's like they have in transactions to, like, gacha for your favorite player or something like that, right? And that is still rated everyone, E for everyone. So it's not even an E10, right? And so it's like, they got around the system from that. But uh I called it corruption at the time, but that's just the company getting around the rules. Like, that's just finding a loophole, really. But, you know, uh America really needs to revamp their law system, but Unfortunately, the reason it doesn't happen is because of corruption. Uh, they like the good people can't are not the ones that are at the top. It is the bad people that are the ones at the top, and that's why nothing ever really changes. But in any case, keep going. Um, let's see. Or even if like a good person was like making change, I guess it's like they didn't they didn't do it right or something. Like I heard that Biden was the reason that there's like these incidences where people can steal up to $1,000 from stores, and the stores can't do anything about it because if they do, then they can get sued or something like that, right? And there's like all these things that people take advantage of, like like what was it? There was like this one guy that would just be like going in and recording places that they're not allowed in. Like these places literally say you're not allowed in here, and then they just go in anyway and they record and they just and then when people try and then when security tries to get them out, they're like, what you're why are you touching me? You're against my human rights, huh? Why are you touching me? And then like the way that the security had to actually push him out was he had to use his elbows. He like to get around the law. The law says that you can't have your hands touching them, I guess, is how it works. But so then he has to use his elbows to push him out. It's so ridiculous how that works. How that like how they had like the people and the security had to fight each other, finding loopholes in laws to make it so that 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 neither side can do anything about each other in some aspects, right? So that like oh who will win this is like whoever can find loopholes in law better, right? So it's good versus the bad, but finding loopholes in terms of finding loopholes is so stupid. But yeah, you know, America breeds these bad people because of how bad their system is at the end of the day, right? That's all there is really to it. It had nothing to do with other countries. Like that's the argument that I was trying to make with this guy is that, you know, what's bad about your country has nothing to do with Ukraine. Like you've had these problems way before Ukraine came along for many years. You could go back to 2000, you can go back to 1980 or whatever. It doesn't matter how far you want to go back. Like like if you want to say 10 years before or whatever, like that's still a long time. But a good argument to be made is like maybe around 2008, maybe around 2005, and that's still 20 years, right? I can like safely say about 2005, but I'm sure that it goes back even further than that, like probably like 1980s even. But in any case, though, yeah, that's a problem with the country that's just like they've just been letting these problems pile up because one, the good people don't want to do anything. They're getting tired of things or whatever, which you shouldn't be, you know, like that. That's just you letting the bad people win. You say, "Oh, I'm so tired. I just want to draw. I just want to like, be in bed and whatnot." And then you are given that ability, you are given that privilege and whatnot. But the thing is that they want you to do that. It is because of that. Because it'll lessen your fighting power. You will have no energy to fight. You just want to live your life in peace. But you can't have that, okay? It is just not possible because you let these bad people win. Therefore, you will never have the peace that you want. That's just how it is. So you guys have to fight for what's right, kind of thing. Um, there's no other way around it, and it sucks. I really hate that it has to be that way because that is the direction that you're going. It's inevitable, and it's already started happening, even like with the black people protesting, and then like what happened to them when they did protest. Police like killed black people, and they broke their limbs and whatnot. They didn't care about them. They didn't have any rights or whatever, right? Now, obviously, there are some that had to pay the price. Some police officer did actually pay the price for what they did. But, at the end of the day, like, this happened because of racism. Like, if it were right, if it were white people that were doing those same protests, like that, like, even if some same things could happen, it wouldn't be as bad as what happened to the black people. I know that much for sure. It is 100% the case that it wouldn't be as bad for the white people, okay? That's all I need to take away from that. I don't need specifics. All I need to know is that white people wouldn't be treated as bad. And by a lot, too. But in any case, though, keep going. Security, why and how a good person are the key points to making the good education. Well, yeah, I've given all that. That's, and then he goes on to talk about how many countries are corrupt, and he gives examples like Australia, Canada, China, Russia. Like Russia and China are obvious, but Canada, I want to know. Like he thinks Canada is corrupt. Okay, okay. Let's let him talk about it, right? Because I live in Canada, and people here loved to give smack to Trudeau, to Justin Trudeau, for a long time before this happened, before the Trump thing. Like they just kept on giving him so much flack. I keep seeing so much people complain about him, like this and that. Oh, he used private jet. He used taxpayers' money to fly a private jet. There's like so many things that could be taken from that. Like he could have been using that for business trip. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, he's used it for a vacation to like, I don't know, Hawaii or something like that, or something like that. I don't know. But what if he went there for a business reason, like, and like the vacation is second priority to that. He also took a vacation while he was there. You know what I mean? Like, uh, I don't know, like why can't this guy have a few days off or whatever? Like, as far as I know, he's still quite active. Um, but that was like an article or something that I saw somewhere, and like, and then like whenever I ask someone what is it about Trump, and it's like, oh, he doesn't do this, he doesn't do that, and it's like, well, that's not corruption, that's just him not doing something that you want him to do, you know. Like I get that you want him to give you more money or whatever like that. Like every time there are complaints about him, it's always about the money, and like, you know, giving you money is not gonna change the environment for the better. It's not gonna change your culture for the better. It's not gonna change your community for the better. Okay? But yeah, in any case though. So he says like, oh, he lets in illegal immigrants, and inflation is going on in Canada, and something else. Um Yeah, let's see. Housing prices increased nearly by 90% within a decade. Like, well, I mean, that um like Justin Trudeau wasn't wasn't the prime minister for a whole decade even. But I didn't argue against that anyway. But I told him, inflation is everywhere. That's just a given. You have inflation. I have inflation. Thailand has inflation. You know what I mean? Like, that's not a good argument right there. The immigration problem, U.S. has that too. Like, yeah, you're trying to like Trump is trying to do something about that, but whatever. I mean, But the thing is that in Canada, they we like I see in the employment centers, like they welcome immigrants, okay? They just have them do the papers, right? Refugees and whatnot, what have you. They just have them doing the papers to like, officially welcome them into Canada, right? Um, and that's not something that I can like say that he's corrupt for. Like, come on. Oh, housing prices they increase or whatever. Yeah, okay. I don't think that that's not him being corrupt as the issue, right? That's not a corruption issue. That's just an economy issue. That's just that's something that's inevitable, you know. And I told him that I'm not gonna say, oh, Justin Trudeau is corrupt because I got fucked over from the immigrants coming in, that he lets immigrants in, that he lets these refugees come in and have a place to live. Oh, that's so corrupt of him, you know? Like that's not something that's not worth calling someone corrupt or whatever. So he didn't have any more after that. So Justin Trudeau is not corrupt. It's just that the Canadian economy is fucked, and that's all there is to it. Like that's not his fault. You can't blame that on one person. I mean, you can blame that on one person when it comes to Trump, which is also quite the feat for this guy. Like this guy is breaking all the records. First criminal president, first to do this, first to do that. Like who else has shut down the federal government? Who else has shut down the educational Department of Education? Only him that I know of anyway. Who else has brought on these tariffs wars and trade wars with the countries right beside them or atop and under to be fair. Well, actually, no, that's actually not the case. Because top and under is like going up to the sky and ground. So yes, we are beside by all technicalities. Anyway, okay, I shouldn't have really went on that, but I just felt like that'd be funny to like include in. But in any case, though, um, technically they are buying more from India, but India. Okay, okay, so they're like he's like talking about oil or something like fossil fuels or something like that. How Russia has it over Europe because Europe will rely on them on fossil fuels or something like that, and that Trump stopped that back in 2016 or something. And I'm like, bro, back in 2016, Russia didn't have a war with Ukraine or anything, so like there was no I'm not seeing a good reason for this, you know. He's like saying, "Oh, he did it so that EU wouldn't be overly reliant on Russia for for fossil fuel." But I'm like, dude, like that's for them to do, you know. That's their business. What business does US have to be blocking this pipeline trade thing going on between EU and Russia? That just sounds like an asshole, you know? Like this guy's just showing off that he's an asshole time and time again. And like like being a dictator, being an asshole and trying to get power over others, if you letting that happen, you letting that being the case, that sets the narrative in that it's the assholes that win in this world, you know? You you don't let that be the case. Okay? You let that be the case and the world that you thought that you were fighting for is actually the world that you helped the opposite side, you know? You didn't help the world that you wanted. You helped what they wanted. they wanted to like give you a terrible life, and you thought that they were gonna give you a good life. Obviously, you're getting tricked, but you don't see that for some reason. You're like, I have to like talk to you for 3 hours, reasoning with you to get you to understand this. But I mean, the fact is that, you know, it is, I do find that to be an achievement to get a Trump supporter to say that they're wrong, to like see that they're wrong, not say it, but he definitely saw it. Because he's like, oh, well, you're saying that all this is wrong, so then what am I supposed to do? And I'm like, well, one thing for sure is that Trump isn't the answer, right? And that like your only option is to choose the lesser of two evils kind of thing. And that for me, my suggestion was to just vote for another party entirely. So by that I mean, don't vote for the Republicans or the Democrats. Just vote for a party besides them. It can be any other party, you know, just go for the Green Party. Fuck it, man. Like, Green Party, they're there to help the earth or whatever, right? So just choose that and see where it takes you. Like, at the end of the day, what do you really have to lose? You only have more to lose by choosing these two parties, because every American that I talk to, they're saying that both of these parties are bad, and that the other parties are just puppets of these parties too. But the point of choosing these minority parties is to set the narrative. Is to say, we don't like you, we don't want you anymore, we want something else, and I'm gonna choose the Green Party because I want a greener earth, I want a better environment, I want this and that, right? Like, it's setting the narrative that you want good, you want something good for the world, and this is selfish. This is selfless goodness. You know, is moving the good people up more. You know, like now good people are gonna get more of an advantage. Maybe, you know, like they're the people, the good people. Let's say good people versus bad people in the politics world. You know, good people only have like 10% of the power, while the bad people have 90% of the power. And it's like, oh, by choosing this Green Party, and let's say they win, oh, now they get 10% more power. Oh, it's only 20% power versus 80%. It's like, that doesn't make a difference or whatever. It's not enough. And it's like, it's blah, 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 right? But you can't afford to say something like that. You can't afford it. You can't afford to be picky about your choices, about your wins, you know? You can't afford to have a 60% good people, 40% bad people, okay? You've already given them 90%. That's your fault as the people of America, right? It's your fault that this happened, and now you have to crawl your way up from the pits of hell, okay? That's how that works. You can't just fly over the pits of hell and into heaven just for voting for the Green Party, okay? You have to literally crawl your way out, and how that and that's literally saying that you have to build yourselves up from the ground up, and build yourselves as good people from the ground up. Re-educate yourselves, be reborn like a phoenix, you know? Well, I wouldn't say like a phoenix, but like, you know, poetically speaking anyway. Like, you have to build yourselves up from the ground up, because your system right now is so fucked that you have to destroy it and build it once again with good intentions in mind, with like good just the idea of a good system, whatever it is, and you have to do it one step at a time, plant one sapling at a time and let it grow as into a tree. It takes many, many years to change into a good back to what it should have been, like make America great again. But the only way to make it great again is to have compassion, to fight for what's right, to have the fighting spirit for that, okay? To be a good person, right? It's like you hear, oh, let's replant the ecosystem. Let's make the world a better place by planting more plants. That plants are good. Okay. Oh, it doesn't help me. That's what's holding you back. That's what's holding you back from being a good person. Because at the end of the day, nobody's gonna help you. If you can't even help the good people, how can the good people help you? That's, man, that is so poetic. I should timestamp that. If you can't even help the good people, how can the good people help you? Holy shit. Huh. In any case, though, moving on. Oh man, that's just the takeaway from this at the end of the day, right? Help the good people, and the good people will help you. It's as simple as that, actually. You don't even need anything else to push you forward. Just those few words, you repeat that in your mind, and you put that into every single action that you do. Boom. Right there. That is your answer. Oh, these people are trying to replant the forest or whatever. Okay. Give them money. Okay. What can you do to help? Can I volunteer? Can I help? Can I get what donation, charity does this sort of work in the first place? Okay, so I hear you. Okay, so you are telling me that your company or your organization is replanting trees, and you show these results. They're showing pictures. Hey, can I also get some videos or timelines or YouTube videos of these happenings? There are organizations that make YouTube videos of these cleaning up the earth, cleaning up biodomes, I guess, or whatever, right? Aqua life and whatnot. I see these things, and I see results too, right? Their results, the results of their hard work. People who clean up the garbage that are on beaches, right? These are the people to donate to. It's so easy to just do like that. That there are people that are gonna scam you, that with charities, like McDonald's, for example. They'll definitely scam you with charity, because this is a big fucking corporation that makes the most money in the world. Why is it that they are doing a charity? Oh, it's for kids. It's for kids. Yeah, right. Okay. Hard to believe. Where are the results? I've never seen a video about McDonald's giving to kids in any manner, of any sense. Okay, so why are we giving our money to them? I see them being put into these charity boxes. They were better off just giving it to the workers. But and there's just loose change and whatnot, and yeah, that the McDonald's was not going to help the people, help those kids, right? It was just so that they could evade taxes. It's the truth has been there all along, and has been like people talked about it for such a long time. In any case, though, moving on. Like that's the way I've already told you how a credible way to like find and give charity money to charity, right? Like it's not that hard. It really isn't. But also like just helping your community out and whatnot. Like helping your community out directly is something that will bring fruit eventually to the community. You help this person and they thank you. Maybe they'll help another person one day as long as you like tell them. They're like, "Oh, what can I do to pay you back?" And it's like, "Oh, you don't need to pay me back. Just whoever else is in need, you can just help them and that'll pay me back, right?" And it's just, instead of a spiral going downwards, it'd be a spiral going upwards. But in any case, that's how I convinced him to like change his view about Trump. I don't think I don't know if he like truly right stopped believing in Trump, but I do know that I made a difference. Okay, I do know that I reasoned with him that everything that I said to him made it through. You know, it'll give him something to think about, and eventually he will understand that his desperation was just, was just overcoming him. That he was just letting his desperation do the talking, and not that it was his true feelings, right? At least not the feelings of his rational side, anyway. I know that much. But in any case, though, I'll end the video off here. Thanks for listening, and thank you if you did put up with my "in any case" and "moving on" and blah blah, all those things, right? Like catchphrases. My catchphrase. But yeah, this has been DTB Death to Boredom, and you have a good night. I hope that this helps you, and I hope that this helps other people, and I for sure hope that it helps someone enlighten them who is a Trump supporter, because truly and really, because I've talked to so many American people, and you know, your world is going to shit with Trump. That is all there is to it. He is like the fact that he partnered with China and Russia and whatnot, and it's so obvious too because he's attacking Ukraine. Elon is attacking Ukraine, and like it was very clear that Ukraine wasn't the bad guy. Okay, very much clear. I don't even know why Ukraine was getting invaded. It's like, is it just because they're beside Russia? Is that it? Like they're the first targets. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you'll be the first target. We don't really care about what you have or whatever. You are just the first target. That's it. Just to test. It's like, oh, can I take over your country? Okay, once I take over your country, now I can take over this country. I can take over that country, kind of thing, right? Probably. I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Good night. Thank you for listening, and yeah, I hope that I don't lose credibility or whatever over my drawing. Like, okay, like I just have to say, right? Like, oh, I'm drawing a lolly or whatever. Yeah, I mean, people will agree that this is a lolly because when you watch the movie, she is so short compared to everybody else. Oh my god. But yeah. Um but yeah, I mean like dude, it's just a drawing. Like By that, yeah, a lolicon is different from a pedo because a pedo is into real life kids. A lolicon is not into real life kids. They're just into anime kids. That's a very big difference right there. That is fundamentally a big difference, even if you don't want to believe that that it's fiction for some reason or whatever, that it's a fictional feeling. Like just look at the difference. Like look at how cute this anime girl is and how like I don't know, she may be a little bit sexy or whatever, right? And how real life kids look. They're nothing like this, okay? Another thing is that um, personality goes into why people like these characters too. Okay, like um, and these personalities are nothing like what kids think. Okay, like someone will say that this kid is 10 years old or something, but the way that she talks, like you can just watch the trailer and she's like, oh. Us space noids, we know nothing about real skies, real ground, and of course, real seas. Like, what 10-year-old's gonna talk like that? You know what I mean? So, yeah. Um, but yeah, I mean, she's not 10 years old, though. We'll get that straight. I mean, like, but yeah, like, what is it? It's just fiction, you know? People need to get that over into their heads. But obviously, those people who like talk like that aren't reasonable in the first place. Like they were never reasonable. They never cared about the culture and why. They just see a kid figured body and they call you a pedo, right? That's all there is to it, right? They only look at the surface, and people who do that are just dumb, right? Straight up, straight up, they are dumb. Okay, did you like it's just that's just generally the case. Okay, you can have some smart people that are like that are they have a big IQ or whatever, right? And they get convinced by these people, but the thing is that that's just how that works anyway. Like, okay, yeah, whatever. I mean, it's not like I was ever invested into anime, right? So like why should I really care? I'm just gonna believe these uh I mean they're not gonna think that they're stupid people, but I'm just gonna believe these people that these anime people are these weebs are complete pedos because I don't care. Like what does if they're pedos, they're pedos, okay? Just lock them up, whatever. I don't care. I have other things to do, kind of thing, right? Like there are smart people that can also believe it too, and that's like kind of the issue. But that's why I have to address this now, kind of thing. Like if people have been somehow judging me over this drawing or whatever, thinking that that I'm a that I should be that I'm a criminal or whatever just because of that, right? Well, I mean, they would never make it to the end of this, but if you made it to the end of this, now I've given you a reason why, why I'm not a bad person and why you can trust me, really, honestly. Um, but I mean, in general, I would have to say that a lot of artists in general are not bad people. Like, we like draw these things to like let out our fantasies, and part of those fantasies are bad fantasies like gore and sex and whatnot, right? And so by relieving that out of our minds, we don't really have a need for it anymore. Because I mean, if you're gonna say that this is our reality or whatever, yeah, sure, this is our reality, and it's a safe space. It is away from real life, by the way. You know, I'm not doing anything wrong in real life because I'm doing this, and therefore, like, I'm not a criminal, right? Like by your logic, even by using that logic, even right? Because at the end of the day, your reality that you want to like throw at me, I can use it against you in this case. in this way. All right, bye now. Sorry. Sorry for taking like all that time.